Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony DiMiele. It's a pleasure here for me to share with you here our company story and the wealth crisis that we look on to take on here to help battle this crisis for many Americans around our country here. I've been in the financial service industry approaching here nearly 20 years. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my career in our presentation, but more importantly, what the opportunity lies ahead for us to help with this crisis. First off, ask you a real quick question. What does control look like to you? This might be different for many people. Might be controlling their life, controlling their balance of time, controlling work, controlling their income. But ask yourself here as you're listening to this presentation, what does control look like to you, and how does that feel? So just think about that question as you go across as we go across this presentation. Thinking about our industry here compared to other industries, we are in the financial services industry. And you'll see here that the financial services industry here, based in a little bit earlier this year, that it's about a $109 trillion industry compared to like real estate and retail, where if people think about starting a business, they're always thinking about what type of retail or even a restaurant, or if they're looking to make a big investment, people think about going into a real estate investment. So if you look at those two industries, those two combined still don't equal up to the financial services industry. So if you're thinking about a new career or a business to dedicate your time to, just know that the financial services industry is the largest here in the world. Next up, when you think about a business, we have to look at, is there an opportunity? Is there an opportunity for the services or the goods that we want to offer? Is there opportunity for people to use it? That's really, for any business person, that's what they look at when they get started in a business. But let's look here. Let's look at the different generations of people here. We have the millennials. There's 72 million millennials out there, and you'll see 6 out of 10 don't know what type of insurance to buy. Look at Gen Xers. I fall into that group. There's 65 million of us, and you'll see 34% of Gen Xers have no retirement savings and are less likely than millennials to max out their employer-sponsored plans. Those are the 401k plans that you may have at work. So there's a huge need there, just the education process on that. And the last is the baby boomers. There's 71 million baby boomers out there. This generation has just impacted many industries as they've grown throughout their lifetimes. And you'll see here now, as they're approaching their later stages of life, now they control the biggest amount of wealth. They really control a lot of the wealth here in the world, in our country especially. You're looking at $68 trillion of wealth transfer will occur over the next 25 years, and the boomers definitely hold the lion's share of this. So we'll look at another what we look at as an industry is look at financial illiteracy. This is the number 1 economic crisis in the world. And it's definitely one of the biggest threats that most people have. And, definitely is on a global basis, because we'll hear a lot of we know a lot about the health crisis that we have across the world, and maybe not people don't have as much access to healthcare or simple day-to-day food items, but the financial literacy that affects over 5 billion people in the world, and that was just based on a survey done by Aegon earlier this year. Here back in 2019, they did a test. They asked 3 questions, and we'll see 70% of the people in the world are financially illiterate. And here we are in the U.S. thinking we're in this great country, and we are in a great country. But financially, we think that many people have it figured, especially maybe people outside of the country think it financially. But we rank 7th in this survey, in this test that they issued. So here we are, one of the, if not the wealthiest country in the world, one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but yet we're still not number one in terms of financial literacy. So you'll see there, number one is actually Germany, with Canada number two, our neighbors to the north, and China number three. So these were three questions that were asked, and you'll see the percentages there of who got all three questions, the percentage of the people that got the three questions correct, and then the one and the two and no correct answers at all is in purple. So that's a huge problem. So there's a need of financial knowledge out there that people are not being taught. They're not taking the time to learn it themselves. So this just creates issues because, really, if you think about that question earlier, talking about control, well, you need to know how to manage money properly to get some of that control, to put some type of control in your life. Well, look at this. This is not a surprise. Why we rank 7th here in the States is that only 21 out of the 50 states in the union here are required to take a financial course in high school. In high school, we take a lot of different courses. We've taken a lot of courses. It's not, some of them are applicable in our careers or in our lives later on, but most of them are probably not. But here, a personal financial course would probably be very useful throughout someone's lifetime after leaving high school. And only 21 out of the 50 states require one. This is a mandatory, in my opinion, mandatory course that anybody needs to get. And you'll see the map here of states that require it or have some type of coursework related to financial education. But you'll see here that personal finance is crucial. I mean, think about how many high school graduates are out there just can't balance out a checkbook. That's just something basic, and maybe some of us still struggle with that today. But that is something that I feel that if we address this problem here at the grassroots level, we can definitely see a better financial future for many folks. So our mission here with Wealth Wave is to stamp out financial literacy everywhere so families can dream again. Think about how many families, individuals, change their dreams or change their lifestyle, change the way they think because of financial issues, or how much financial issues put a strain on someone's life. Well, by tackling financial literacy, we can help eliminate that, help people start dreaming again. So here, Wealth Wave, we are the How Money Works company. First, we have an education system. There is a book out there by the authors of Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold. Tom Matthews is has been in the industry for many years, decades, and Steve Siebold is a world-renowned author and speaker. The two combined together to put together this How Money Works book. To help people start learning about financial education. So since there wasn't one out there, we created our own, and this is the result of it. You can get a copy of this book by whoever introduced you to this presentation here tonight. We can get you a copy of that book. Just ask for it when the next time you meet with that person or talk with them. So looking at How Money Works, that book, it meets 100% of what we need. First, it has engagement. It's an easy read. It's a fun read. It's a storytelling type of read, so it keeps us engaged. I've read financial books in the past where, after a few pages, I tend to kind of drift off and start daydreaming. Well, it's normal. Financial books can be very complicated. So this one here, I know, keeps people engaged. Discovery. We see that it's bite-sized, it's easy for people to digest, it's very clear and simple. It's not designed to get too complicated. It's up to date, relevant to today's world. And it provides honest material of what we really face here as consumers. And then the last thing here is, and all information is great, but then what's the strategy? What's the action plan that we need? And there's a step-by-step action plan in the book that helps people get towards a better financial foundation and start learning more about finances. So what we teach here, we're looking at the realities, really understand what's at stake, financially, help them understand what their future looks like financially, what they need to do, concepts. Just like anything that we do in life, we need to understand and have some knowledge. If you're looking at someone's career, or if you're into cooking, you need to have some type of knowledge and foundation in cooking to really expand and really put together some strategies. Same thing with finances. We have to have some knowledge. We just can't go in there blind. And then putting together those strategies to making decisions and taking the right action. So here we go again. Financial literacy is also the #1 economic crisis in the world. Look at this, and again, think about it from an opportunity standpoint. 44% of Americans don't have enough cash to cover a $400 emergency. All right, and these are pretty recent studies in the last couple of years. 43% of student loan borrowers are not making payments. $9,300 is the average credit card debt for households, who will probably pay close to over $37,000 in interest over 30 years if they're just making like minimum payments. And then 33% of Americans have zero retirement savings. Oh my gosh, that is so huge. We're going to talk about Social Security in a few slides, and we'll find out how critical that zero retirement savings is and getting people towards a path of start saving for that. So we're looking at here, will your retirement fly? So statistically, it says we'll need about 70% of our pre-retirement income to live on. So Social Security, 40%, the amount of retirement income is designed to cover. So, Social Security, everyone thinks of, okay, I don't need to save for retirement because I have Social Security. I'm saving into Social Security. Well, Social Security was never intended to be your sole retirement income. Unfortunately, it has become that. It's a supplement. And here in our stats here, we're looking at 40% should be for your retirement income should be relied upon with Social Security. And then the other is going to be your savings. If you're fortunate enough to have a pension, that reduces your need for having savings or maybe replaces Social Security altogether. So consider yourself a lucky one with that. But other than that, for most Americans, we need to have our own personal savings. And what most people have access to is a 401k plan where a bulk of the retirement savings is done. And right now, the average account for a 60 to 69 or someone in their 60s is about just shy of $200,000. So is that a balance enough? Are we going to be able to make sure that someone can have a sufficient income in retirement? Well, based on these numbers, not enough. I'm sure there are many people out there I know that have that already balanced out, but there's too many below that don't have enough saved to make sure they have a well-balanced retirement. And really, this is a fault. There's no generation that's even has it all solved here. Millennials, they have about $23,000 saved for retirement. Gen Xers are at 66, and then the baby boomers, their median amount of savings for retirement is $152,000. So every generation needs improvement here. Obviously there's success stories within each of those generations, but there's too many below those medians that really need a lot of help. But really, it's really an understanding and education on it. So here, will your savings run out in retirement? You think about Social Security and 401k. That's going to be our sole sources typically for retirement. And then if it's not enough, what happens? Well, life changes if someone retires. If the income is not sufficient enough, then maybe they have to re-enter the workforce, or they never retire. That's probably another possibility. They never retire. They restrict their lifestyle if in retirement. Not do some of the things that they wanted to do, what they think about doing, or maybe even think about moving in with their children now, just to kind of combine households and combine expenses versus taking on expenses on their own. So definitely a lot of changes if there's not enough income coming in. And the next question is the income reliable? Social Security should be pretty reliable. 401k, well, we need to make sure that money lasts. Savings, reliable savings last as long as you do, with the potential to even leave a legacy. We want to make sure that if we are retired, we don't want our savings to run out, that it could be relied upon, that with the market conditions we saw early this year here in March of 2020, the stock market dropping 30% in a short period of time. Well, that can really impact someone's retirement income. That could make it not as reliable. So that's another thing that we have to understand and learn. Here's a great concept, the financial concept that I learned early on when I first joined this business, joined this industry. I come from when I joined this industry, I came from a CPA firm. Did all the classes in accounting, worked as a CPA firm for about 3 or 4 years, and had never heard of the Rule 72, thinking that I learned a lot of the mathematical and financial formulas out there, but this one really stumped me, and it really got me upset that I didn't know this basic Rule of 72. And it's a shortcut. It's a mental shortcut for us to figure out how long it takes for our money to double. And it's real simple. You take the number 72, you divide it by the interest rate you're earning, and this quotient is the time for your money to double, is the amount of time it will take for your money to double. So we have some examples here. You'll see that if we are making 1% on our money, if you take 1 and put it into 72, that's 72 years. So that means every 72 years, my money would double. If we're making 3%, now that's every 24, and then so on and so forth. So you'll see like in 9%, if we're making 9% on our money, well, it'll take about 8 years to double. So a really quick formula that most of us can do it in our head, that, hey, I just divide it by 72 and figure out how much money I'm making on my money. So think about your current savings account. What's your current savings doing? What are your current investments doing? Are they doing enough to, with this quick formula shortcut, are they doing enough for you to be happy? So here's an example. We have the How Money Works book has a lot of different characters in it. And here's Zoe, who just received a $10,000 inheritance. And her question is, if I wanted to grow it to $1 million, how many doubles and what interest rate do I need? How many doubles does it take me to reach $1 million? Well, if she saves it at 1%, well, she'll definitely never get there by age 67. So you'll see 1% gets to about $16,000, because in our formula, 1 into 72 is every 72 years. So most likely she doesn't even have a chance to see this money doubling to that. So if you look, then the number of doubles, well, we have to get to 9%. Is roughly where she needs to do, or actually she needs more than 9%. So about 7 doubles she needs to get to $1 million. So somewhere between 9 and 12%, probably closer to about 10%, where she'll need get the 7 doubles of her original investment to reach $1 million by age 67. So see, let's look at 9% there. She starts off at 10. 8 years later, it reaches 20, and then 8 years after that, and then it reaches 40, and then all the way down, she gets to 67, it reaches 640,000. So if she waited 8 more years and 9%, she'll definitely be over $1 million. Or if she's able to earn more than 9%, probably closer to 10% or so, she'll be able to get the $1 million by age 67. And then here's another thing to look at here is to get $1 million by age 67 is the longer you wait, the more you have to save. So, if you're young listening to this presentation, time is your biggest asset. Not the amount of money you have, but actually time. Because you'll see here, if you're age 20, well, for you to reach $1 million, you need to save about $113 a month. So you'll see some of we're assuming a 9% average annual rate, compounding monthly, okay, and then waiting to age 67. Well, look at what happens if you go from age 20 and you say, "No, I'm going to start saving at age 30." Well, now that money more than doubled that you needed that you're required to save. Now that number goes to 282. If you said, age 30 is too early yet for me to start, I got to wait till 40. Now that number jumps to 731, almost triples. And then someone say, age 40, just wrapping up raising my kids. Now we go to 50. Now that number jumps over $2,000. At age 55, it reaches 38, and then by age 60, it just becomes unbearable to reach that $1 million goal. So time today is the best time to start. Time is of the essence, and the longer we wait to start saving towards this goal, the harder it will be to achieve it. Next, we talk about taxes. Many, my background being with the CPA, I also have a tax background, so I understand a little bit about taxes. It's amazing how many people don't have just a basic understanding how taxes work. Some have some understanding, but for the majority of us, we just do our taxes every year and just wait for our tax preparer to tell us what we owe or what we're going to get as a refund. But really, with no idea of how we got there and how we can make decisions throughout the year to maybe help this help our tax situation. And so we have to understand how taxes work. So we'll talk about here the seed versus the harvest. So let's just say you save $10,000 at age 29 and you made 9% annual return, and you would have about $250,000 when you reach age 65. So if I come to you at age 29 and I said, hey, you're going to save $10,000, but I'm going to have you pay tax on it now, so that way you can get it, so that any growth on that 10,000 will be forever tax-free. Or we can come back to you at age 65 when that money's grown to $250,000 and say, okay, now you start paying taxes on the $250,000. Which one would you rather pay on? Would you rather pay on the seed or the harvest? So look at 3 ways that we can be taxed on our money. We have tax now, meaning every year we get taxed on our interest and our earnings and our dividends. So that's taxable every year. Or we have a tax deferred, tax later, where taxes are paid when you start taking money out of your retirement accounts. So just kind of like the seed versus the harvest example. Well, if we're saving for retirement over a long period of time, we build up a nice nest egg. That nest egg is gonna be a lot larger than what we started with. So now our taxes might be bigger on that amount. And then plus we don't know what our taxes will be in the future. And then, or there's a tax never. Taxes are not owed on any earnings and distribution because we paid them at the time of the seed. So 3 ways. Those 3 ways of how our money gets categorized tax-wise. And also, you'll learn strategies to take control of your financial future. Think about these 5 characteristics, right? All these benefits is called. How about a zero market risk, long-term care, tax-deferred growth, tax-free income, tax-free legacy. Here's another character in the book saying, "Well, wow, these are a great list of benefits. How do you get them all?" Well, there is one solution that provides all 5 of these benefits. That's something that you can learn. I'm sure that'll be something that can benefit people. So here's our roadmap. Roadmap to financial security. There's a seven money milestones we talk about. First one is financial education. Before you're going to do anything, you need to educate yourself. And pretty much like anything that we do in life, you need to get some type of education and become a little bit more literate in that field. 2, proper protection, making sure that we protect against a loss of income and savings. 3, an emergency fund, setting up for those emergency expenses. We all have had them throughout our lifetimes. Establishing a nice solid emergency fund. 4, debt management, making sure that we're controlling our spending habits and controlling our debt, and also get a goal to strive towards eliminating debt altogether. 5, cash flow, managing expenses, or is there a way to earn additional income so I can get to my retirement goals faster or pay my debt off faster? Then building wealth, making sure, understanding the impact of taxes and losses and inflation, making sure we understand how those impact our money, and then making sure that we don't run out of money in retirement. What strategies can we put in place to make sure money doesn't run out during retirement? And lastly is protecting wealth, protecting our legacy. That way so our next generation can inherit properly and with little disruption. So let's look at it. So, we talked about the need of our industry, the need out there, people, the number of people that are out there that don't have a basic financial education or have financial literacy. So is there money to be made? I just shared with you earlier that, we're in the largest industry in the world. This is the largest industry in the world, over $100 trillion. But can you make money in it? We think about financial industry being for those special people that go to those special schools, but not really. That's not the case, because I wasn't one of those people. So here we're going to use an example of, if I just helped 5 people a month, if I just did 5 personal sales, so I went out there and met with them face to face or today on a video call, and helped them with a solution. And our averages here that we're looking at a IUL, which stands for Index Universal Life Premium of $350 a month, and this is our company average, or an average annuity premium of $140,000. Those are just 2 strategies, 2 solutions that we help families out with. Well, if we just did 5 of those, some combination, well, that can earn you over $9,000 a month just by yourself. For most people, if they just did that every month, they can probably replace their current job, because that's over $100,000 a year income. Well, what's also with our business, you can also start building your own company. You start building up your own company agency, just like a restaurateur or other type of tech business. They start building up their company with their team, with people in certain areas of the business to help bring it all together. Well, we can do the same thing in our business. We can build up an agency where we start teaching people how to help other people with them. That's how our team grows. So you can start managing others. Well, if you continue doing your 3 sales a month, right now, you're not going to be able to do 5. Maybe you can only do 3 a month, because now you're dedicated towards helping other people achieve their financial independence. And so your team of people that you're overseeing, they do 6 combined. So you do 3, your team does 6. So it's 9 solutions a month, 9 average solutions a month. Well, for you, the company will pay you $18,000 plus to do that. It's almost $250,000 a year income by just helping out 9 families a month, 9 individuals with 9 solutions a month. So I think there's some good money to be made in here. There's definitely money to be made to replace your career if you're not happy. There's also money here to be made to build a legacy, to build an empire. So there's definitely money here. So what's the impact? From the Wealth Wave business. Well, over the last 3 years, over $200 million have been paid to Wealth Wave business associates. Right? Wealth Wave is present in all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and Canada. Over 100,000 families have been helped over the last 3 years. And right now, this group is approaching 10,000 licensed financial professionals here in North America. Over 250,000 individuals and families received a financial literacy education in the last 6 months. So, one of our goals is to stamp up financial literacy. We're stepping towards that. We're getting towards it. Over $250,000 been helped with that. Quadruple the rate of educators over the last 3 months, 3 years, 36 months. Looking for people like myself, going out there and help educate people about financial literacy. So we're looking for people like you to join that, to help us increase that rate. Averaging more than 300 financial literacy training events each month. That number's probably grown since, because this presentation was put together earlier in the year. So within the time of COVID here and the time of video calls, and that number's probably a lot more than we have. How many running spots you can be part of. So our platform provides a high-tech, high-touch system and support. You have mentorship. What's great about starting in a business like this is you have someone to turn to help you, to guide you step by step. If I wanted to start a business outside of this, or even in this industry on my own, I really probably wouldn't have much leadership to turn to mentorship to figure out which path should I go. I definitely can't ask a competitor. I can't go to the guy across the street to ask him how to build my business. But here in our business, in our platform, you're able to do that. You have that support. You have marketing support that you can build your brand. Definitely prospect and present digitally like we are here today. Technology for our agents, right? So that you can work closely with someone or even remotely, really however you choose. Administration, all the back office support is already built for you. It's already done. You don't have to worry about that headache, how to get paid and how to making sure the money's going through the right flow channels and having the relationships with other product providers. It's already done. Sales support, obviously there's software and training that we need that's provided, that's available to you. Systems, duplicatable system to provide with proven results, to provide those results so you can build your business. Really the trial and error that people have done over the years, and they've refined it to the point where we can get those results a lot faster for you. And then the products. We work with many of the well-known brand name companies that you see advertise and present every day. We have over 100 products and companies and services that we provide for, that we make available to our clients. So we're not just using one product or one solution for all families. It's really tailored specific for each individual family, because then each of them may have their separate different needs. So definitely a great platform to help you grow your business here. Digital marketing system. Obviously, this is becoming more and more important today over the last several months, how big it is to have a digital presence in the marketplace. And that's already built for you. So that way on day one, you have access to it. You don't have to think about it. You just plug right into it. It's already been built for you. The highway's been built. Now all you got to do is just drive on it. Advocacy for entrepreneurs, right? Just make the move so you can never be caught without a digital business in your career portfolio, right? That is available to us to make sure that digitally we have that presence continuously. And then earlier I asked you what, taking control. Take control, what means you have the freedom to say no. You have the freedom to have no boss, no required work hours, no required office attendance, no problems from working from home, no vacation day restrictions, no layoffs. If this is the type of control you were thinking about at the beginning when I asked you that question, then this might be something you have to look at in more detail. 3 ways to get started. Well, first, become a client, grow your knowledge, take advantage of our strategies, put them in place to build a security for your family, start building wealth, prepare for retirement. Go through that client process. So you see it at work. And then if you like what you see and you say, hey, and you feel like you can dedicate some time to it, start part-time with us. Start part-time so that way you can start serving other clients. Start becoming a licensed professional. Learn from the licensed professional that helped you become a client. That person will teach you how to build your business here. You start serving clients, you can grow as a leader, get more experience with this. You can move at your own pace. You can also start assembling a successful team. Put together a team together. Start building that team that you want to have around you. And you can talk to you talk to that licensed professional how to do that. And then go full-time. Full-time meaning that you don't have to You don't have to continue serving in your current career. Maybe that's something that you want to replace. You're tired of that career that you're currently in. You know, that's kind of was my situation. I became a client here. I started part-time when I was working with a CPA firm. Took some time and started learning this business, and eventually became full-time. Right? That full-time side, you can focus 100% of your time on your business. You know, have a team on our platform. Think about other things that you can take advantage of. It, the different incentives that our business provides, and really creating a legacy for your family, for your future, going full-time. So with that, in the beginning, I asked you about what does control mean to you, and then lastly, I'm going to leave you here with this question: what does financial freedom look like to you? With that question, think about it, and I appreciate for you joining us here tonight, listening to this presentation, learning a little bit more about our opportunity. And if this is something that intrigues you, I definitely encourage you to get back together with the person that invited you to see this presentation, and set up a time to discuss on how to get started and get your questions answered. With that said, appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good evening.